Hi guys, I welcome you in this wonderful video. So I'm going to be sharing with you a very simple scalping technique that you can use when you're scalping, or if you are a scalper. The reason I love this method is because it utilizes price action. So there will be no complicated tools or indicators that I'll be sharing in this video, but just simple price action. Now, one thing that I have to point out is that when you are a scalper or when you are scalping, make sure that you avoid using day trading methods or using long-term trading method to scalp, because it really doesn't work. If you're gonna be using trends and key levels when you're scalping, it will not pay. It doesn't work. Why? Because when you're looking at a trend is here to show you or to tell you what the market is likely to do in the near future. When it is moving in an uptrend, you know that it is likely that it's going to continue or it's going to reverse. So when you analyze smaller time frame trends, the disadvantage is that when you see a downtrend on a smaller time frame, is that on the next 30 minutes that downtrend would have changed into an uptrend. So there was no point of analyzing a trend, because in the lower time frame a lot of things happen so quickly. So that's what I wanted to advise you before we get into this method. So what should you do to get good entries if you're not going to be using trends and key levels? One thing that you need to do is that make sure that as a scalper, there is one time frame which is very high compared to your scalping time frame that you should reference. Now, what am I talking about? Here on the 5 minutes, I'm not talking about a 10-minute or a 15-minute time frame. I'm talking about a very high time frame like the 1 hour. You are not going to be using the 1 hour time frame to take your trades or to analyze whatever is happening there. The only thing that you're going to be focusing into on the high time frame, it is support and resistance, and then those support and resistance on the high time frame, they gonna give you a trend here on the smaller time frame. Let me show you an example. So what you have to do here, let's make an illustration. Let's go here. What you have to do on the 1 hour, you don't even have to focus on very big levels like those ones and so on. You have to focus even on minor levels which changes the direction of the price. For an example, I can just put it here and we observe this resistance here. So when you observe this resistance here, a trader who is trading on the 1 hour or on the 4 hour will not treat this as a main resistance, but he will treat this as just a pattern which will give him an entry when it's broken. But you as a scalper, you know that you're going to take advantage of these highs as long-term moves on your smaller time frame. So once you observe these highs, you have to go to your smaller time frames and try to wait for price to approach that level. And when price approach that level, it's gonna give you a very good entry. For an example, you can see here that price approached that high, and as it approached that high, you can see that you can even observe a clear pattern here that it is moving up in a form of very smaller trend, and then that pattern or that smaller trend was broken there, and then this breakout here, it will give you an opportunity to enter. You didn't analyze this as a trend, but you analyze this as a pattern that's going to give you a good entry opportunity. And even in the near future, you can observe that this retest, it was very good to give you a long move or a very huge return. Why? Because it is not limited or it is not small as it seemed on the high time frame. But here, when you observe this retest, when you take advantage of this retest, it's going to give you a lot of returns. Why? Because for an example, as you can see here, let me just try to see when it started. Let me just drag it here. Let's say maybe you enter somewhere around there after the flow is broken. After this flow is broken, let's say you execute your trade around there, and then maybe up to somewhere there. Let's see, it started at 8, so it lasted for like 2 hours. So 2 hours you are in profits, but on the 1 hour time frame you couldn't observe this. Why? Because on the 1 hour time frame you are only waiting for big moves that are relevant to this time frame. But when you take advantage of these key levels on this time frame, it will give you a lot of returns in the smaller time frame as a scalper. So this is what you should do, guys. Observe the key levels only on the higher time frame. Don't care about what key levels are appearing on your 5-minute time frame, care about the key levels that you see here, for an example, this resistance or this low, and then try to take advantage of those key levels on the smaller time frame, because they're gonna give you huge returns or huge moves. And see or observe that here on the lower time frame, I didn't care about if the market is gonna be reversed all the way up there or whatsoever. I just look for a good entry opportunity because the signal is already given on the hard time frame. So my role here as a trader, it is to wait for the flow to be broken. For an example here, it is to wait for this flow to be broken, and then I enter from here. I don't care about everything else that is happening. I just look for an entry opportunity. I don't analyze trends. I don't analyze the support and resistance, because that is already given on the high time frame. I hope that is making sense. So you're just taking advantage of smaller moves on the high time frame, and you make them bigger moves on the smaller time frame by taking advantage of maybe a pattern break. I hope that is making sense. So the next time you are scalping, or the next time you're analyzing as a scalper, avoid using the smaller time frame as a main time frame that's gonna give you an entry. Use higher time frames, and you can even go to very huge time frame like the 4-hour. They're gonna give you very, very huge moves on the smaller time frame, because what you need to know is that even when you see a smaller reversal, for an example, a smaller reversal like this one on the smaller time frame, it's a lot of pips. It's a very, very big move. That's why I recommend this method, because you are taking advantage and you are following what the high time frame is doing, but you are following it in a very, very smaller perspective, or in a very, very narrow perspective. I hope that is making sense. So just be free to try this method out, guys. It works a lot. I use it a lot so that I make sure that I don't have to change my setup when I'm scalping. I will continue to utilize my price action skills instead of indicators. So just try to implement this method and see what it does for you. So thank you for watching.